What's going on, guys? This is obviously Jordan here, back in the car, in the lovely studio at long last. That's my suitcase back there. This is because I've now finished this internship, and I'm moving back from my nan's house to my family, my parents' house. And boy, I want to clarify the reason why I haven't uploaded between Wednesday and today. Wednesday is because of the England game. I thought, let me hold out on that. Thursday, I was like, wanted to upload, but I was out the whole night Wednesday and just slept through Thursday after work. Friday, I think I had plans, and then Saturday, I don't know. Yesterday was the first day I should have uploaded, but I was just really lazy. But either way, we're back today, camera in face. And what I wanted to talk about, I've got a bunch of other ideas that are coming soon. But while I'm sitting in the car, I realized, you know what? I've been meaning to talk about for a while, but haven't. The car, the car itself, and I guess why I'm selling it. So I think a lot of people at my age or similar ages, you get your first car, or maybe you haven't even done your lessons yet and you're thinking about whether or not you should get a car. And I think I've talked in the past about why I valued my car, why I bought it in the first place. But to kind of bring some perspective on that as well, I want to talk now about why I'm finally, coming to terms I'm to sell this car. Because I think people, especially now at lockdown, you've seen driving lessons more expensive. It's hard to find instructors. All the test dates are booked up. All the car prices for used cars have continually started to rise since March last year. People are driving around a lot more now. So we're in interesting times. A lot of my friends who haven't already learned to drive and are struggling learning to drive now, purely because of it's too expensive, or there's no instructors, no test, ECT. But let's put some clarity on that. So first of all, let me just briefly cover why I bought a car in the first place. People always say you live in London, you study in Bristol, the transport's good, everything's within 5-10 minutes walk. What's the point in buying a car? And I understand that, I get that perspective. But the reason why I bought one is, one, for convenience. I didn't like having to wait for buses or trains or ECT. The convenience of being able to get up when you want, wear what you want in the car, go where you want, whenever you want, was just so valuable to me. I think when you grow up in a family, when you share a room and you have small houses with loads of people in it, you start to perceive and value space a bit differently than people who are maybe only childs or have their own rooms. So for me, having my own space, being able to bang out music as loud as I can and just enjoy myself, literally having a moving stereo is kind of the way I perceive my car to be. So it's just nice to have your own space where you can do your own things and leave stuff and things like that. Especially when you're going from home to uni, it's easy to drive from London to Bristol instead of just getting a train all the time, where it might be more expensive if you left late notice or something. Having full flexibility, full convenience, power is the reasons why I bought this car. But of course, that only means as much in a world where I'm planning to keep it, and as the title of the video suggests, I'm planning to sell my car at the end of my insurance year, whatever my insurance program, whatever word you want to use for it, which ends in September. And there are 3 key reasons as to why I'm doing that. So reason number 1 is it's purely costs. Cars, I think it's known that cars are expensive, but it's not really known just how expensive they are. Because yeah, of course, you buy the car up front, or you maybe get finance. That's one expense. You pay for insurance each year, so depending on the number of years you own it, it's another accruing expense. But fundamentally, that's another expense, the car and the insurance. But the crazy thing is, what people don't always remember, or don't always consider, is petrol cost. Petrol is a thing that varies from person to person, depending on how many miles you use, how efficient your car is. But that can very quickly add up, and it's a continual expense every single time you drive. Diesel, if you have a diesel car, petrol, if you're a petrol car. I don't think there are many 22, 23, 24-year-olds with Teslas or electric cars at the moment. So yeah, that's going to be an expense. But also, one thing that people forget is general expenses. If your tire pops, you've got to get a new tire. If you dent your car, you've got to get a new bumper. If you scratch it, you can just leave scratches depending on how old. It doesn't matter too much, but people tend to want to get that fixed. I'm talking more about, I guess, small things. What about big things? If your engine blows or something, if you have to replace a spark plug, your drivetrain is slightly damaged. There's so many expenses that you don't really think about, and unless you're a mechanic or a mechanic, it's going to be a process of it's a long process. It's a long process, and those prices add up. I think I've had to take my car for repair at least once a year that I've owned it, and I've owned it for 3 or 4 years now. To be fair, most of those have been tires that just go flat. You drive over a nail or something. But I've had a car accident once. I had to replace the bumper. I've had something leaked. I had a leak once. I had to get fixed as well, a mechanic. And it's just annoying. It's an annoying expense that you can't really account for, but it always comes up. And all these other expenses. If you're caught speeding, if you're caught parking where you shouldn't be, parking itself is an expense. If you're parking in not free areas, congestion charge if you're in London. All these different charges that just very, 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 very quickly add up, and you don't like spending that money. And those are things that you just have to pay, and things that you also have to pay that you can argue like a speeding ticket is not a compulsory expense, but two compulsory expenses there are is MOT and road tax. If you have a bigger car, you pay more road tax. If you're and you also pay more MOT, I guess. But those two things every single year, MOT is due, road tax is due. You can't MOT it if your car's not taxed, and then you can't, or other way around, I think. And then you can't. It depends on who you go through, but generally it's like if I'm trying to get it road tax and stuff, it's like I need to get it serviced and get all these other things done. Servicing is like a myth, and yeah, it's just the hidden cost of owning a car is probably the cost that I care more about. Is a reason why I don't really want to continue owning this in the long run, at least not in my current financial state. The second thing, and I think this is a bit more interesting, maybe people might have thoughts on this, but I think lifestyle and health is one massive reason as to why I'm selling this car. I've never been the like most fit guy in the world. I've never really gone like gym consistently, sports consistently, but now that I have a car, I just plan, like, I drive it wherever I can go. I literally just came back from the shop now, which is like a 5 to 10 minute walk from my house, but I just drove there because I have the car and it makes sense. Okay, and to be fair, saying that, I mean, I went to pick up my stuff as well, so it's not like I went home and came back out. It was on the way home. But that's not really the point. It's like, and I've recognized in myself that there are several trips that I can make on foot. I can just take a bus somewhere. But because I have the car, I'm more inclined to use it. And from a like health and fitness perspective, even though, again, cutting a car out, I'm not going to become like a flipping bodybuilder overnight by selling my car. But at least I'm getting more steps in, If when I check my Fitbit, at the end of each day, sometimes I get my 10,000 steps, other times I don't. And a lot of the time it's like I could have this walked more, I could be more active, I could be outside more, experiencing the world more, if I wasn't just in this compartment driving around all the time, which again, I appreciate the convenience of it. Maybe it comes down to just being more disciplined and saying like, look, I'm only going to drive if it's like a 20-minute journey or more, or like a half-hour journey or more. That might be an easier approach. But then when if I start thinking like that, then it comes down to how frequently do I even drive more than half an hour? Maybe if I'm going from Bristol to London, that's, 2 hour and a half drive. But in and around London, I'm not really driving for more than half an hour. In and around Bristol, I'm not really driving for more than half an hour. So then it's like, if I start, making less short journeys, I'm going to quickly realize that I'm not actually making enough journey to justify paying, £300, £400, £500 a year for the insurance to maintain this car. Not to mention the other costs of petrol, as I mentioned. And that's kind of it right now. I'm not going anywhere because of lockdown, but I guess parking tickets, or like paying for parking. I mean, I don't really get tickets anymore, but that's not really the point. Again, the point is that it's not justified, and it's not a case of I can either drive it, like own it or not own it. It's like I can just sell this. As I said, I'm trying to sell the car. I'm thinking about selling the car, especially right now where I bought this initially for £1,399 or like £1,400. And the current market, I can probably sell this for about just over that, if not equal to that. So I can literally break even on a car that's 4 or 5 years old. Well, for me at least, this actually came out 2008, so it's like 13 years old. I can break even on it just because of the lucky circumstance that is a global pandemic. Yeah, I mean, I'll take some luck where I can get it, which has caused used car prices to skyrocket. So yeah, that's another reason why I'm thinking about selling the car. And last but not least, the final, third reason why I'm selling this car is I haven't really got a good word for it, but I guess it's like risk mitigation or like avoiding risk. And I think a lot of people that have older cars will slowly start to appreciate this. How many miles have you got? How many times do you bring into repair each year? How expensive is it getting to maintain? And it's getting to a point where combining all the other things I put together, the risks, the health risks, financial risks, and the general risk of having the car itself, it's getting to a point where the risks kind of outweigh the benefits, whereas before it was a lot more beneficial to own this car. What I mean by that, again, for people that have a car, an older car of a lot of miles, you know what I mean by this. If you don't own a car, when I talk about risk, what I mean is how likely is it to break down in any moment of time? I'm at a point now where I've got about 130,000 miles on the car. Just for perspective, I guess, the average car user does about, they say 10,000 miles per year. And 10,000 miles per year means obviously 13 years it will take to accrue 30,000 miles, which I have actually done 130,000 miles in a car that's 13,000 years old. But the average car, I think they say, lasts about 8 to 10 years before being replaced or whatever, or starts to break down, ECT. Obviously there are older cars on the road, but I guarantee a lot of them have had, like, maybe not engine replacements, but they change a lot of bits to make sure that the entire car runs as you'd like it to. It's not like you just literally, I mean, probably are some cars that you just drive around non-stop for 10 years and it's completely fine. But generally, that a lot of repairs go into it. And I'm at a point now where I've had to replace a couple of bits now. The car hasn't broken down yet, but I can tell sometimes I'm shifting gears and it doesn't quite feel right when I'm shifting gears. Maybe that's because I'm a reckless driver. I'm always like speeding or something. I accelerate too quickly. But the steering's not quite as responsive as I remember it being when I first started driving. The handbrake's fine, to be fair. The brakes and everything, it's safe, but it doesn't quite feel right. And I can tell there's going to be a point in time where like one thing's just going to snap, and then I've got to get either the whole car replaced, and it defeats the point of not selling it now, or it's going to be like an expensive repair where it might not even be worth repairing it. It's going to say just you're better off buying a new car. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm completely fine for the foreseeable. But it definitely is. I've definitely reached not necessarily a breaking point, but I've reached a nice area where it's like, how much can I keep on pushing it? I wanted to literally drive it into the ground and then get a new one afterwards. But again, I'm appreciating all the things combined that, I can get some more walking in, given the whole lockdown situation. I can cash in a lot of extra money, given that the market's at a decent high right now. Plus, by cashing in right now, it means I offset all the potential risks. Like, if I sell it, I don't have to care about if it breaks down in 2 years' time. I'll tell the seller, I'll tell the buyer, like, look, it's got this many thousand miles. I've had this problem with it, that problem with it. I'll probably get it serviced, or like, I'll take it to a garage before I sell it, so I know what to sell it as well, what to pitch it as. But otherwise, yeah, like I literally, I put all that responsibility into someone else. All that risk is offset because it's not mine anymore, and I don't have to care about what happens next. Not to mention, I get more steps in and I cash in some money. And not only do I cash in money by selling it, but I stop losing money. I reduce my expenses having to maintain the car itself, which altogether, those are 3 solid reasons. As much as I appreciate driving around in my own compartment with my own music, as much as I appreciate the convenience of being able to go wherever I want, whenever I want, I think at least for 1 year, before I plan on buying another car, while my money's low right now, there's so much more to benefit from selling this. And also, more importantly, the convenience of being able to go anywhere you want makes you want to go further, I feel like, makes you want to explore more areas, at least in my case, because I enjoy driving. But maybe I should spend some more time exploring my own local area. Like, I don't know London as much as I'd like to. I know Bristol quite well. I've been to like Bath, Manchester, Liverpool, around the UK a little bit, seeing friends here and there. But I want to actually know my area as well. So maybe I'll put some more time and emphasis into just walking around, exploring my parts. So that way I still get, I don't know, maybe it works out as a complete net positive selling this car. The only other thing, I guess, is music, but I've got noise cancelling headphones now. The compartments just exist on my face. I'm still on my own. I'm still jamming. But yeah, that's kind of my brief overview of why I'm planning to sell this car in September when my insurance runs out. Insurance policy, that's the word I was looking for earlier. But yeah, if you have any questions about that, on like what it's like to own a car, insurance rates, how to get cheaper insurance, how to get cheaper cars, driving lessons, whatever. Like, I've had this car for about 3-4 years now. I bought it in 2018, 2017, I think I bought it in 2018. So yeah, three solid years I've had this car for. But I've been driving around, had a motorbike before that as well, a moped. So I've got a lot of experience on the road. If you do have any questions as, a 23-year-old experienced driver, let me know. That'll be a future video. But as of right now, that's it from me. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you in the next one, which is like day 14 or something at this point. I don't know. Day something. We'll discuss that later. Yeah. But yeah, peace.